Okay, so here we are today and we're going to look at Access Database. So this is the front of Access when you go into it, and when you're starting the database initially from scratch, you obviously will go to blank database, and this will open up hopefully. There we go. It's one of the few pieces of software that you will name before you actually begin. Whereas the majority of software that we've been using, you can name it at any stage. So here we're going to name it at the beginning. So I'm going to give this particular piece of work a name of Assignment 1. It's very important that you actually know where you're putting it. So you can see here this is going to go to C:\users Kathleen documents. I don't want it there. All right, I want to put it somewhere else, so I'm going to click on my browse, and in here I'm actually going to go to my desktop, and again you decide where you're going to go. I'll decide where mine are going to go, and I'm going to go to my NUI work files, which are here, and I'm going to create a folder actually because Access is not there. So I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call this Access, go into Access, and there I am. So I'm going to change it into the, I'm going to my NUI Galway, I'm going to Access, I'm going to call it Assignment 1. It's automatically been recorded as this, and OK. Once that's done, so you can see it here now, it's got its extension. It's now exactly where I want it to go. And I will now create. Now the reason I pay attention to this is that this is not as easy to file save as all the other files. If you do have it in the wrong place, you have to make sure that you close it and then move it after it's closed. But once you're happy with the name and where it is, we just simply click on Create. This will then bring us into Access, which is the first page that you're actually looking at right here. Okay, so again, it's a completely different looking sheet for you again, but I'm going to go through it bit by bit and create a very simple, straightforward table. In the actual workbook, you'll actually see on pages 5 all the different pieces of information, but you will see on page 6 the data types. Now again, I'll be going through each one of these, but there is a description for you on page 6. Also on page 7, you see input masks, and we will be using some of them as we go through the next couple of weeks, but the full explanation for input masks is on page 7 when you require them. Okay, so I'm going to go on and I'm going to create the database, the simple database, Assignment 1.1, which is actually on page 8 of our workbook. So I'm going to start at the beginning. So first of all, what I see here is table 1, and over here is going to have a list of anything that I do within this. In other words, if I have different tables, forms, reports, they're all going to be listed here, because as I said earlier on, this is a relational database, which means I can have multiple aspects in here, and then I can or not relate them as and when I want to. Okay, because I only have to relate what I want to relate, not that I must, because it's a relational database. Okay, so I'm going to load the database program. I've done that, and I've created a database, and I'm going to do a completely new database table in Design View. Now the first part is I'm going to just look at the front end, and I'm going to quickly go to the back end with you. So this is the front end. If I click on here, this is, and again I have to name the table here, and I'm going to call this cars. It won't let me go to the back end. Okay. And this is the back end, and this is where we will actually be doing the creation. So this is the back end, this is the front end. The front end is where you actually just simply put the information in, and I'm clicking on this icon right here to do it. If you don't want to do it clicking on the icon, you can click on View, which is directly underneath it, and choose the opposite one. So this is the datasheet view, which is looking at now, and the design view. So it's the design view that we're going to be working in when you are creating, altering, or modifying any part of a field within the table. So we're going to kick off with doing this, and we're going to create a very simple one. And as the databases go on, we will actually incorporate more and more and more of the different data types. But today I will talk through all of them. So the first thing to notice is here. Over here, you will actually see a little key. And this is called the primary key. And for the primary key to be there, that means that in this field, we're going to do something that's going to be unique. We're not going to do that for at least the first 2 or 3 tables that we do. So we need to take this off. And the reason we need to take it off is because there's nothing going to be unique in this area. And if you do put it in and you forget to take the primary key off, if you had the word, for instance, if it was make of car, and the first time you put Ford in, well, that's grand. But the next time you try to put Ford in, it wouldn't let you because it will not allow you to put the same entry in twice. So we need to take the primary key away from there. So it's gone. And the first thing we're going to do in the field name, the first one we're going to look at is we're going to put in the make of the car. All right, so that's just the name of the field. That's all that is. But the data type, this is the important part here. What is the type of car that we want? So if we open this up, sorry, not the type of car, beg your pardon, the type of field that we want. If we open this up, these are all the different types of fields, the entries that we can actually have. So if I start at the top, short text. Short text means that you can put absolutely anything you want into this field, including alpha, numerics, spaces, symbols, anything, absolutely everything, up to a maximum of 255 keystrokes. This would be the most common data type that we use, to be honest with you. Long text is exactly the same as short text, except we can actually enter up to 65,535 keystrokes. The only ones that I actually find using long text would be people who had products that they want to put descriptions into. They want to describe the product, the service, or whatever it might be, and they just can't fit it into 255. That's all that long text is. Okay, and again, you can put anything in there whatsoever you like. Number. Number is exactly what it says. It has to be a number. All right. Now, large number is the same thing again, but again, you've got far more capacity with numbers. Date and time is exactly what it says. You can either put a date and or time or both in here, and again, it will accept nothing else. Date and time extended, and that's a brand new one on me, so I'm going to have to go find out what that one means. So I'll come back to you on that one. That's been a new one since I've gone into Access. So we'll see what that means. Currency is exactly what it says. If you're going to have currency issues, you put it as currency. You might say to yourself, well, number is the same as currency, and I would agree it is. But when you use this more at an advanced level, not the level that we're using, you can actually do formulas within a database. And you need to make sure that whatever data type is in the field is the correct one, otherwise the formulas will not work correctly. So again, at this stage, this doesn't really matter to you, but you just need to understand that. Auto number. Auto number is exactly what you expect it to be. It automatically numbers. So for instance, if you were in a club and you wanted to assign a new number to each new member, you wouldn't actually say, okay, what was the last number? It would automatically generate the next available one. As it does, for instance, every time a child is born and they're registered, that actually automatically creates their PPS number. All right, it's as simple as that. Every time someone applies for a passport, that's automatically generated. It's automatic. Yes, no is exactly what it says. Is it yes or is it no? Is it true? Is it false? It's as simple as that. It's a yes or no situation. OLE object. An OLE object is an object supporting linking, embedding. Quite commonly, it's imagery. Quite commonly, it's some form of graphical input. So, for instance, when you go into the gym for the first time and you become a member, and they'll ask you to stand in a certain place and they'll take a picture of you for their database, that is an OLE object. Hyperlink is a link to either a website, an area on the machine, email account, all that type of stuff. All right. An attachment is basically what it says. So if you want to be able to link directly from a database straight out to a spreadsheet, a Word document, or any other type of document, it can be an attachment. And again, this would be commonly done maybe in, where would I commonly do it? Maybe in a pharmacy area, where you might want the full list of how the drug is made up, who manufactures it, etc., etc., and that could be in an attachment. Calculated is where, again, it speaks for itself. It calculates based on the fields that have numeric values, and you have to tell it what fields to use, etc., and why. A lookup wizard is exactly what you're looking at now, where you get a drop-down option box, and you can actually use it for many different reasons. And at your level, your age especially, you'll have used these numerous times. I mean, for instance, how many times have you had to tell it where you, what county you lived in, what country you lived in? It's usually from a list that drops down, and you have to select which country, what county. So they're all over the place. You're going to have to create them and attach yourself to them as well. And that's that there. But also when you're actually looking at field names, I'm just going to go back to field names for a minute. Be very careful, because they're in field names. There are what's referred to as reserved words, and they're words and symbols that have specific meaning to the access. But even if you ever type them, it'll tell you straight away, sorry, you can't use that. One of the ones I think is words such as name. I think it used to be a problem, but we'll see. Year would be in this list, so we just need to be careful about words we use for field names. Okay, so with that done and explanation done, my first field is a what make is it. This to me is just simply short text, because I'm just going to put the name of it in, like Mondeo Bora. So that's it. Description, unless I want to put something in here, I don't have to. The only reason I personally would use it is if I was creating this database for someone else and I wanted to be absolutely sure that they knew what needed to be in here, I might put it in there, but absolutely not that necessary. Then if you look down here, this is what's referred to as the property area, and it's the property of the field, as you can see there. And this property is particular to whatever field you're on at that time. So right now we're on the make field, as you can see there. So anything we do down here will only respond to this field. So every field has a unique field property. All right, so please be aware of that. Okay, so the field size basically is only one I'm interested in here, and right now it's 255, which is the maximum it's allowed. I always change this, and the reason I change it is that when it comes to the reports, it's much easier to change the size to keep the report looking much neater and tidier. So I'm changing this down to 20, because I don't think I'm going to type anything greater than 20. And at any stage, if I needed to increase this, I can. So I'm not actually, this is not in cement. This can be changed at any time I wish. So there's the field size, and that's size 20. I've no need to do anything with anything else. And again, there's different things down here that some of them will be using about 30% of this, but as and when we use them, I will be talking to you and talking through them. But right now, the only thing I need to do there is just change the field size to 20. So I'm now going to come up here to my next field, and as you can see down here, the field properties have gone away because I've not got a field yet. But the minute I create a field, and this one's going to be called model, and go away, you can see instantly. Now, if I were to change this at any given time to anything else, some of these properties will change, and I'll point that out to you as and when it happens. So this is the model, short text, and again, I'm just going to leave this as 20. The next one I'm putting in is color. And again, this is going to be short text, and again, 20. The next one is year, and I know when I put this in, it was a reserved word, so I actually had to add on MFG for manufacturing. And again, this is numeric. So I need to change this to numeric. So I'm going to put in a number. And down here in the properties, down here, all right, This is a year, so a year can only be changed into 4 digits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the input mask here because I want to make sure that nobody can put in 5 digits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0000 because what 0 means is it means a user must enter a digit. That's what it means. And again, that's explained to you again on your input mask page. Nothing else I want to do there. Sorry, I want no decimal places. So again here, it says decimal places auto. Now I've no intention of putting any decimal places in, but I want to be sure that they're not going in. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to make sure it says 0. So I'll be 100% sure. So we're now going to come down onto the next one, and the final one is kilometers. And this again is going to be numeric. And actually I've been asked to do this so that if the numbers have thousands, they will have commas but no decimals. So I'm going to come here to decimal places, and again I need to make sure that there are no decimal places in here. And I'm going to come in here to format, open up format, and I'm going to look for one that has a comma, which is right there. I don't see one without decimals, that's why I've said no decimals. I want this one, please. So it's going to be standard, but with no decimal places. So again, you've got to make sure whatever property you want is dealt with down here in line with the field up here. Okay, so that's all of that done for now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the other view, my front end view, by clicking on this. It will automatically then say to me, please save it. Yes, I will. And it's brought it back. Now note please about where the headings are. All right, the headings have now become, the fields have now become headings for us. So over here we kick off, and I'm going to put in a few of them. So Ford, I'm using my tab key to get one from the other. Mondeo, red, 2016. And again, I'm going to keep tapping my 6 key, and I know you can't see me doing it, but you've got to believe in me. And again, you've heard it, not seen it. And know that there's no other figures allowed in there. And then finally, kilometers. And again, I just type in the number, so it's 30123. I'm going to tab now to get onto the next one. And if you go and look back at this, it has done exactly what we've told it to do. And that is put the commas in for 1000 and no decimal places. So then I'm going to continue on with this. Okay, so that's all the information in. So I'm just going to do a few things here to show you how nice and easy this can actually be. And again, bearing in mind, obviously, this is only a few entries, there's only 7 entries. Just bear in mind that, and again, I can see I've done Volkswagen wrong, I should have put a capital W there. And to change that, I just simply click into it, get rid of the lower W and put in, capital. And away we go. So basically what I want to just show you here is just some very simple things, all right? So I am going to show you that maybe I want all the year in order with the highest to the lowest. I can just simply click over here, okay? And I can tell it to sort smallest to largest or largest to smallest. And not only does it sort that, but it sorts everything else with it. That's how easy it can be. You know, it's so easy to operate. Let us say now that's why I'm not going to make it complicated. I'm going to keep it simple to begin with. So that is assignment 1.1.